Hi there, I'm Haylley Pittam, and today with me is Jenni Lynn, and we're going to discuss all the things that she gets up to in the swimming pool. We are very, very happy to have her with us today, as she is going to be talking about Sweat, which is her brand, which you might have seen on social media. So hi Jenni, how are you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting.
We should say that she's currently in New York and I'm currently in the UK, so we are definitely looking on time zone differences. So let's start. I always love this question to open up with. You're at a party and someone asks you, what's your job? What do you say to them?
Well, if no one else speaks for me, usually someone will be like, she's an aquatic instructor. And I'm like, hold the phone. No, I usually introduce myself as an aquatic training specialist. I take that title pretty seriously, especially coming from the A.E.A. or the Aquatic Exercise Association. So I usually introduce myself as an aquatic training specialist.
Oh, fab. And someone that is obviously not used to the water, doesn't have any idea, what's their normal response to you saying that you're an aquatic specialist?
I can probably vouch for a lot of other aquatic fitness professionals when they get the response of, oh, you teach water aerobics. And it's like, no, more of trying to change the perception or the terms that people are using. So I usually their response is, oh, you teach water aerobics. And then I end up having to politely correct them and say it's aquatic fitness. It's meant for many different types of ages and demographics. So, that perception can be understood, but I'm usually politely correcting people when they say, water aerobics.
So what got you into teaching aqua aerobics?
It's actually a pretty fun story how I got into it, because like yourself, I'm a swimmer and I've always been on swim team from a very young age. So most of my water experience was horizontal, if you will. And growing up, my family was very much active in the gyms, going to classes. And so after college, I became basically a gym rat. And most of my friends were like the instructors, because I would go to a lot of classes and make friends with the instructors. So they all knew me, they knew kind of my background. And just so happened one day out of the blue, this was when I was living in Florida, 17 years ago. And my friend, who was an instructor at the time, came running across the gym floor and she's like, you're CPR certified, right? And I said, yes. She goes, do you want to make $40? And I said, yes, because I was unemployed at the time. Ding again. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. So she said, apparently the water teacher had just quit and walked out the door. So they
Did she have a reason for her quitting?
I never found out. I'm sure
okay.
there was something legit, but I never found out why. Okay. But I taught the class that day and didn't know what I was doing, had no idea what, at the time I called it a dumbbell, but it was a hand buoy. And, I had no idea what these things were. So I was having them do things where they would swim down, grab a noodle, and then run back with the noodle and then swim down. Just, things that I was like,
familiar with. Yeah, swim teacher was.
Yeah. So that was basically the start, is someone quit and I was CPR certified. And that's basically how I got my feet wet.
Yeah, we hear a few instructors that kind of get that kind of push into doing aqua aerobics, where they're land instructors and suddenly they go, oh, we need an aqua teacher, the teacher's called in sick, please can you go and do it? And the thing is, it's a different medium, it's a whole different type of class. There's a lot more that you have to figure out, but being a swimmer, you've got a lot more of an idea of what the water impact has, or how you can manipulate the water, more so than just a basic land instructor.
Absolutely. And I could understand, just from watching the participants that very first day, like, okay, that doesn't quite work, it doesn't quite apply, let's try this instead. And that's kind of, once I taught that class, I was like, I should get more familiar with aquatic fitness and get a certification or education of some sort. So it kind of expanded after that into more.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so what was your stroke as a swimmer?
I was a backstroker.
Oh, I was a breaststroke swimmer.
I did the IM, I did all 4 strokes, but I did the back. My specialty was backstroke.
backstroke. Whereas I hated backstroke, and mine was breaststroke. And
see, and that was my least favorite.
I was literally about to say, I always find that us breaststrokers don't necessarily like backstroke, and backstroke don't necessarily like breaststroke.
Absolutely. It's like opposites.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to hear if other people feel the same. Let us know.
I'm treating now too.
But when I used to swim, I'm still friends with my swimming team, and I love them to pieces. And we have our stroke. So we have the one that did the butterfly. We had the one that did backstroke. We had the one, and then we had the one that went to county. And so we always got kind of bracketed into our little strokes.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was the breaststroke swimmer. So effectively, you've been teaching for how long?
I am coming into my 16th year of teaching water.
16
yeah, it's hard to believe, but yeah, about 16 years of teaching water.
What would you say that you've seen change within the industry over those 16 years?
Oh, wow. Quite a bit, thankfully, but I think the presence of aquatic fitness in social media has been the biggest one. And I know I heavily saturate social media as it is with water fitness, and I'm sharing things from other people or putting some sort of synchronized swimming video out there to be like, look at what's happening underwater. But I see it more on social media, and I see it being depicted more as a legit, fitness format that needs to be considered amongst other formats, because we have cycling, we have yoga, we have Pilates, we have bar, we have, P90X and the whole HIIT training. We have all those things, and everything has its place. And I personally love yoga and Pilates and those kind of things. But if water wasn't available, I don't know where all these injured CrossFit people would go, because
Yes.
I hate to say it, because I know CrossFit works and I know a lot of people who have gained immense strength from it, but it was a weekly basis where I would get people injured from different formats on land. And so I love that it's being depicted. People can see it. People know that there's a different way to either lose weight or get back in shape or rehab an injury. So I think over the years I've seen just more on social media, which is necessary.
Yeah, I had a lady that came to me just before actually the lockdown. So she had turned up to 2 classes, and her instant thing was, I normally do really heavy classes, but I've hurt my back, so I've decided to try your one out. And obviously I'll just do what I want and what I can, because I don't think that this is going to be my permanent place. And I was like, all right, okay. But I'd won her over within that first class, and she was like, it's really hard. Didn't realize it was so hard. I was like, yep, yes it is.
Thank you.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what they all say. The minute they take it, they're like, I had no idea. So
yeah,
I just like that they kind of bite the hand that feeds them first. And you're just like, you might want to be careful what you say to the instructor before class.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
So do you have I know that obviously sweat is your baby, but do you have a favorite style that you like to teach?
I was talking to someone about this, and obviously sweat is geared towards HIIT training and circuits and boot camp formatting.
Mm-hmm.
I've realized, however, over this lockdown, how much I really miss my arthritis classes. Just because you see such amazing transformations, and to watch somebody go from wheelchair bound to walker to canes, and knowing that their quality of life has immensely improved, I think that's a format that I really like working with. And I never thought I'd say that, because I really loved working with the able-bodied people who can jump up and out of the water and do all these crazy swimming things. But it's the people that really need it the most that I find that I kind of draw myself towards now, especially, as I mentioned, after being in lockdown.
Yeah. I mean, I started off with all the boot camps and the knockouts and the combats and I love it all, and I love all the energy that comes with it.
Right.
But I also equally love the therapeutic element that the water gives to all these people. That I love the fact that we have such a variety that we can offer in the water is what I want to focus on. I want to be able to say that we can have these different classes for all these different people that need it. And arthritis is definitely one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people do you have in that arthritis class?
Well, I currently was teaching the Wednesday and Friday classes. There were 3 back-to-back on Wednesday and then 2 back-to-back on Friday.
Wow.
And the classes were capped at 14. And, it depends on any given day. Sometimes you would have all 14, sometimes you'd only have 12, sometimes you have 5. But I would probably say there's like 50 to 70 participants per week. Yeah. Between there.
Yeah. No, that's a really lovely kind of class for them to be able to also socialize with other people that are also in the same boat as them, and having those specialty classes instead of them just coming to Aqua and them all having their own individual things. If they come to a class which is more specific to their needs, then you can then focus a lot more attention on their needs.
Absolutely.
With the HIIT and the sweat together, you have the use of the Aqua Strength pieces of equipment and the Aqua Logic pieces of equipment. But what is your favorite piece of equipment to use?
Favorite piece of equipment? I love this question. As you mentioned, I'm obviously a Hydro Revolution junkie. I love the drag equipment. I'd have to say, for myself, when I do my workouts, obviously I use buoyant equipment, whether it's a hand buoy or a noodle. I tend to surprise a lot of my participants when they see me practicing in the water, because a lot of that misconception of I need to grab the biggest dumbbell possible because that's what's more intense, and I'm using the very small buoyant ones. But I prefer just to use the Aqua Logic ankle cups.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, they just came out with that medium kind of resistance, that in between heavy and light ankle fins that can also be used on the wrists, maybe in deep water or in arthritis classes.
Just for someone that doesn't know what they are, do you want to just kind of explain? Because obviously I know what they are, but for someone that's not used them before, can you just give them a bit of an idea of what they look like?
So basically, if you had a piece of Velcro and they've taken these little tiny, they're like half circles, if you will, and they kind of slide onto the Velcro. So it's these little spheres of plastic that create added resistance, and then you Velcro that to your ankle, which obviously increases surface area because you have these blades that stick out in different directions, and you can adjust them where you want them on your ankle, or you can take some off if you don't want all 4 blades on there. But I love it, just kind of easily Velcros around the ankle, and the neoprene kind of has a soft padding to the actual ankle itself, so it's not like ripping your leg hair off, if you will. I don't know, after all this quarantine, I have not shaved in a very long time. It probably rip it off my ankle. But it's basically just a drag piece of equipment. Instead of holding it like you would in your hand, it's a Velcro strap with blades, and it goes on your ankle. And I love to work out with those and just my hands, or webbed gloves to add resistance, because I love doing so much stuff, both touching, grounded, and suspended. So the freedom that the ankle fins give me allow me to do both touching, rebounding, as well as suspended off the floor kind of work, and get a lot of resistance.
So one of the things I just want to add in there is that the Aqua Logics and the Aqua Strength company, they are one. They are the same. They join forces and they create plastic pieces of equipment. So they are working with drag resistance, not buoyant pieces of equipment. And their variety of equipment is the long barbells, the short dumbbells, the ankle and wrist cuffs, And with those different options, they all use the kind of, again, drag resistance on them, and they are creating surface area with the size of their equipment as well. So they are, you know, they are a really good piece of equipment, and they do create a really challenging workout. Mm-hmm. Do you do any one-to-one work with people, or do you just do groups?
I do a little bit of everything. I do the groups, small group, as well as one-on-one. I do enjoy working one-on-one because that's obviously when we can really hone in and get specific and see where people's maybe misalignment are or where their strengths are. So I do a little bit of everything, one-on-one and group.
With your one-to-one or with your group classes, what would you say has been a big challenge for you?
Oh, such a good question. Obviously, I think it depends on the person and the class. I find that from working more with one-on-one and small group, and especially getting into presenting, I find that I'm having more challenges with group, because small group and one-on-one, you get that individual attention and they are paying attention to you, whereas in big groups you can lose people's attention, or they get distracted, or something happens. So I find that I am starting to prefer more of that one-on-one or small group setting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Have you been given any challenges within the industry itself? Have you found yourself having a big challenge to overcome with being an aqua aerobics instructor?
I think there's definitely a challenge for all of us aquatic instructors, just because of what we mentioned before, the perception of aquatic fitness and the fact that it is still viewed as water aerobics or geriatric. Or if it's not geriatric, then it's the high elite athletes that are doing it, and that in between population is just gone. So we're, as aquatic instructors, we're constantly fighting to be acknowledged as a legit format, instead of this, let me come to your class because I injured myself. I know this isn't going to be that intense, but I'm going to take your class and it's going to be okay. So I think we constantly fight to be seen as a legit and recognized format that can give you an all-around workout. And yes. I think that's always going to be there. I would love to say that it's going to go away, but I think it's always going to be there. And
I'd like to think that it does change. I'd like to think that we are trying to make a difference to make that happen. Definitely.
Oh, I think, and we've had so many leaders before us, Ruth Sova and Mark Velding and Angie Proctor, all these people that are leading the way and really basically plowing through these walls ahead of us. And those are the people that are, helping us to be like, rah, rah, shish boom bah, here we come. And so it's good. We have to just keep growing and following those leaders, and then ourselves becoming leaders and helping others to become leaders to grow and become stronger as a team.
Okay, so with the industry and how things have progressed on the years that you've been doing, we're pretty much saying similar things. Even though you're in New York and I'm in London, we're pretty much fighting a similar battle. We're pretty much trying to, make headway, trying to say to people, the aqua aerobics is not just for what they classify as the older generation, and it's not just for, the people that are injured. There are so many avenues to use aqua aerobics in. And it's interesting to have that point where it isn't just us in the UK, and it's not just you guys in New York. We are all saying the same thing. And it would be nice to think that at some point in our time in the industry that we'll be able to see a difference and see that change and that shift into people thinking, oh, I'll go to the pool.
Yeah, exactly. It'll happen. It's happening. Slowly but surely, it's happening.
Slowly but surely. Linda has this question that she's been asking people, and I've been jumping with it. So I asked someone that I have also interviewed as well, and it's come from Linda. It's not my question because when I got asked it, I freaked out.
Oh,
yeah, because her thing is, when you retire, what would you like to be known for?
ooh,
It's a hard
ooh,
one.
Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope when I retire to, one, I hope to retire. Two, yeah, I think just really being seen as a motivator, someone who really encourages all different types of students, no matter what their age, to really push themselves. Because I think I hear that quite often from students, and I get, especially my older demographic, they constantly thank me for not coddling them and really like getting to their, really pushing them to their max, obviously giving modifications and allowing them, to assist them their specific physical needs. But I want to be seen or known as someone who really motivated and pushed people no matter what their limits were.
Fab. I'm speaking from the same hymn sheet as you are. Yay.
Yeah.
My last question to you is that if we have a new student watching this, a new Aqua Aerobics instructor, someone who is new, what piece of advice would you give them?
Don't stop. Don't stop. I think it's difficult because the aquatic industry is still growing and expanding. I don't think people who want to become instructors have as many resources at their fingertips to become trained. And I think now that there's more online resources for people to do that, like there are other formats, that it's going to become more accessible. And so I would encourage people not to stop. Don't get discouraged because you're going to have people on a weekly, maybe daily basis kind of reminding you that water isn't that intense, or that this isn't going to be a hard workout. And that it can be very discouraging when you hear things like that on a repeated basis. So just don't stop. Keep going. Keep finding your mentors. Seek it out, whether it's online or in other countries, because we're out there, and I know there's a lot of us that want to continue to help others grow and literally pull everyone into the water. We'll let you float. We'll help you float and swim. We won't let you drown. Put it that way.
So would you like to explain Sweat, and would you like to explain where people can see you and see what you're up to?
Yeah, so Sweat is, I tried to come up with like the acronym for SWET, because it's spelled S''WET, and it basically comes down to like structured water exercise training. And the structure is based off of what I mentioned before: HIIT, boot camp, more higher intensity type formatting, and helping instructors that have already been teaching kind of give them more tools to pull different people into your pool, whether that's the male population or your younger demographic, trying to give them ideas of how to structure it within their gym, whether it's, okay, I'm going to offer a sweat class, or maybe you're trying to make the department some money and you offer a small group and you take sweat as a way to kind of really entice the department and other land goers into something that's seen as a harder format. And I think that's what Sweat has kind of become over the years. And we've been developing over this lockdown a members only page that we're going to launch hopefully very soon on the website, which is JenniLynnFitness.com, JENNI, not a Y, Jenni Lynn, 2 N's, JenniLynnFitness.com. And so we're having a lot of different information on that, and currently actually asking people for some feedback. I have a little small survey questionnaire at the bottom of the website page that just kind of asks people general questions, like if you were to take the Sweat certificate, what would be 3 things you would want to learn? And so I'm trying to get some polling from people as to what they want, what they need, and how Sweat can kind of help in the higher intensity range within aquatic fitness, because I think we have a lot of different beautiful, amazing things within the industry that, whether they focus on yoga or bar, or we have the combat stuff, we have all the equipment stuff, we have so many different amazing types of formats within the aquatic industry. And I think sweat is kind of pitching itself in there within like the circuit boot camp HIIT training formats.
No, there is so much more that is on offer, and there is so much more out there. But that's, you know, just the boot camp stuff, the circuit stuff, that is definitely an area where it's buzzing on land, and it should be buzzing in the water as well. And we do more research on the high intensity interval training, and it's more known for its high energy workout, but the difference is being in the water, we don't have the same loading on the joints or the same problems on the joints, so it's one of the safest places to do HIIT training is the pool.
Absolutely.
So it's fantastic to say that you're going to be offering this out, and you're going to be having it all on your website, but obviously we can also find you on social media on Facebook as well, so you have your Facebook page.
Sweat by Jenni Lynn Fitness is Facebook, and then Jenni Lynn Fitness is Instagram. So you can find a lot of different videos and things like that. And we're just trying to make the most of this time, and you know, clearly everyone else is too.
Well, you know, we've got the time on our hands to do whatever we need to do and catch up with life. And
absolutely,
I definitely, I needed this break. I feel like I needed just this few weeks out of normality, of taking my time and doing some bits, which is what you've been doing as well, right?
It's all we have, and we might as well just try to be present during it.
I completely, we've gone through this whole thing, and we haven't even mentioned the fact that you team up with your husband.
Oh yes.
Like, you know, that is something that, you know, you as a duo, you come across you know, fantastically well in the industry, and I think we should just mention him maybe a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, within the sweat building, I mean, he created the name Sweat. He was the one that came up with the name Sweat. And from him getting in the water, as I mentioned before, he didn't even come to my classes for the first 4 years we were dating. And from his back injury, that's why he got in the water. But from him being in the water, I started to kind of focus on him, because he was doing so much more, you know, with more enthusiasm and energy in the water. So I was like, okay, well, let me see what he's capable of. And from that, I think it kind of just grew, because other men were looking at him and they're like, well, if he's in the pool, then I should be in the pool. And, you know, it kind of just approached people differently, and people saw it very differently. And from him being in the water, it has kind of really birthed Sweat and what is possible. And I like the idea of people coming to the water, and maybe sweat is that initial thing, you know, getting guys and younger demographics to the pool. But once they're in, then they're intrigued of it all. And that's when you can kind of throw different types of formatting at them, and they're like, oh, I had no idea I could do this in the water. I had no idea I could do this in the water. So it's good to get all of those type of people, because so many things can be born from them. And that was definitely what Chris brought to it. And I love that we can work together, and hopefully we can start to, once we're able to be freed of our cages, we can travel together again and do workshops together. And
he did a dude moves, or was it dude moves? I get that right?
Yes.
And it was the idea of obviously the more masculine respective moves, or the more masculine classes that you can kind of put on. I mean, the one thing that we have to express is that we do have guys teaching Aqua Aerobics, but we don't see them out there as often, and we don't see them in the forefront as much. So to have someone like Chris being there and standing up for the guys, saying, look, I'm teaching, here I am, it's really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he loves it.
Oh yeah, he loves it, because it's, you know, he definitely gets quite a few men in his class. And there was for a while, his Thursday night class was pretty much all men. There'd be like, oh.
Can you hear my dog?
That's your dog?
Yeah. Where were we? So we were talking about Chris and dudes.
Dude moves, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, from Dude Moves, I think he definitely reached some more, well, I think in the American realm, more instructors that way, because as we've said in Europe and other countries, there's a lot of male instructors, and we do have male instructors in the US, but I just don't think we have enough that are seen in that light. And so Dude Moves and then Dude Move Extreme, you know, they're kind of reaching a different demographic of people and showing, you know, people that, yeah, it might be seen as a masculine move. Women can do the moves too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that's a way to kind of teach instructors, like, okay, here's some more intense stuff. This is something that if you have men in your pool, you know, throw a couple of these moves at them, because then they'll really have to work and be shown how difficult water fitness is.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
My dog's back. Let me just show you my dog. Come here.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Buddy.
So if anyone can hear random noises throughout my time being with you, he is wanting to play ball because apparently I've been up here for too long.
I was going to say, Mom, you've been in the room too long. It's time.
Yes, we've just, yes, could you take him, please? Yeah, thank you. I'm passing him over to my husband.
Oh, that is so cute. I just love the sounds that they make. It's just really cute.
Well, he looks like a rabbit, sounds like a piggy, and snores like a tornado, but
Really?
I love him. So yeah, that's my dog Barkley.
So cute. I love it.
Well, that kind of wraps us all up. It's been absolutely lovely to speak to you.
Yes, you too.
And obviously looking for Jenni on social media, check her out, check out what's going on with all her stuff, and see how at some point we're going to be bringing you over to the UK. I'm sure we're going to have you over here, and we will also, you know, love to see what you're progressing on with your courses and how you develop more stuff with your sweat formula.
Yay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I really, really appreciate your time.
Oh no, it's been lovely catching up and having a chat with you. But I'm going to say, you know, good luck with it all, and I hope the lockdown for New York, you know, gets better, and I hope that everything for you guys over there stay safe and you know, be well. And I'm going to say goodbye now. So take care. See you soon.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.